So we're back with another Davinci Resolve tutorial. I'm Tyler Seaman. Welcome to my channel. Got me some coffee, freshly buzzed, so I got my chrome dome all nice and shiny. And you're not alone, Jason. So I posted a community poll on YouTube on what my next tutorial should be between two options. And the results are in, and let me just say, they may shock you. So we're here in Davinci Resolve in a new project. This is a 1080p project with 30 FPS. As before, this is going to be completely procedural, so it doesn't really matter what your project settings are. As long as you've got the macro ready, it should adapt to whichever project settings that you have. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import media, and we're going to get a background photo of a douchebag. Perfect. So now that we've got our douchebag background, we're going to drop in a new Fusion composition, and we're going to switch over to the Fusion tab. So you can do that by using the navigation bar down here, or you can push Shift 5. It doesn't really matter. It does the same thing. You can drop in a background node, and I actually found this out by watching a Patrick Stirling tutorial, his most recent one, that you can actually drop in a media in node. Whoop, we're not going to do that. Get that out of here. And you can plug it into the media out, and it's red because it doesn't have a specific media ported into it yet. We're going to come over here, not to the process mode. We're going to come to the media source. We're going to switch from timeline to background. So what's good about this method is using a media in node with the media source set to background. It tells Fusion that the pixel data that is below the Fusion comp in the edit page, that is going to be the background data for the Fusion composition. So like in our fiery text tutorial, the heat waves would actually be an effector because of using this method. However, we're not going to have any type of effect like the heat waves this time around, so we're just going to stick with a regular background node. So as before, this is completely to taste, but I'm going to reduce the alpha because I like to work that way. That's just my personal preference. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a text node and we're going to drop it in and merge it over the background. So we don't have our text yet. We're going to come over. Oh, make sure you have your text node selected. Come to the text and type in something. And we'll just go with, I'm going to do all caps. Something. Nice. Now, that done, we're going to adjust the size to taste. And I'm going to switch to a standard font that everyone has, Arial. And we're going to just leave it just like that. That's what we're going to do in the text tab. Now we're going to jump over here to the shading tab. We're going to go to stick with element 1 here, and we're going to come down and change the color to taste. In this case, I'm going to use the color black. Perfect. Now we're going to come over to our second element, and it says red outline. We're going to enable that. So it's a red outline. I want it to be white, so I'm going to come down to the color here, and I'm going to drop the saturation to 0. We're going to leave it just like that. And I'm also going to drop the thickness down. I think I think it was 111 that I did the first time. Yep, that looks pretty good. And we're going to leave it nice and thin just like that. All right, cool. So our text node is set. So next we're going to shift space, and we're going to add in an edge detect node. Now, this merged it over this pipeline here, and that's not what I want. I'm going to shift click and drag it off, and we're going to port from the text into the edge detect in a completely separate branch. Now, in this edge detect node, we're going to, well, first off, I'm going to put it in my first viewer. So that's what we're seeing here in our edge detect node, and this is the media out node, so that's basically the summation of all. And in case you're confused, in case you're brand new, this is not showing the edge detect because this is a separate branch and it is not merged back over our Fusion composition. Don't worry about that. We're going to get to that later. So, but for now, go into your edge detect node, and we're just going to drop the edge width ever so slightly to like say 0.173. That looks nice. And all nice and good. Okay, so as in our last tutorial, we need to create some movement. How do we do that? With a displace node, not a disparity node, a displace node, DSP for short. I've still got my caps lock on. Not a big deal, but still. Okay, and we're going to run the edge detect into the background input of the displace node, and since the displace node needs a driver to tell it how to displace our edge, we're going to use fast noise, FN for short. Not a merge node. We're going to merge our fast noise into the green input of the displace node. So it doesn't look like much has happened yet, but that's just because we haven't really changed much. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on our fast noise node. So under the noise tab, we're going to boost our detail all the way up to 10. And we're not seeing this because I don't have this set in the viewer. So I'm going to put the displace here. Boom. Okay. So we've got our detail boosted all the way up. For the sake of it, I'm going to put our fast noise in window 2 rather, so we can just actually see what's going on. So you can't really see much because of the scale. The scale is a little bit too broad. So we're going to drop our scale, or I'm sorry, increase our scale up to about, what was it, like 13 I think I did? Yeah, about 13. Make it a nice even 13. Fine, good enough. Okay, so 13 and change. So that's all nice and good. It's looking like we're getting some warble going, so that's good. We're going to boost our contrast up to about 2. We're gonna, 2.27 I think is what I had, and that's close enough. Okay, and we're not done. We're gonna also bring up our brightness, but ever so slightly. So like, okay, so maybe not that slightly. Probably about 0.1415, somewhere around those lines. 0.151. That's good enough. Okay, so we're getting some jaggedness and some jank over here. That's good because that's what we want. So we're going to we're not going to add any movement just yet. We want to make sure that we've got our displacement in the right orientation first. So we're going to come over to our displace node, and we're going to switch the type from radial to XY because we only want 2 planes of data. Just for the sake of explanation, radial is a 3-dimensional seethe. XY is a 2-dimensional seethe. So up, down, left, right. We don't want Z depth. So you'll notice switching to XY snapped away all our distortion. Well, that's not a big problem because we just haven't changed the settings. So for this effect, we're going to drop our X offset all the way to 0. We're going to drop our Y offset all the way to 0. So we're going to boost X refraction up to about, it's a slight boost. So we're going to go to like 0.56, I think. It's pretty good. 5.6 or 5.7, something like that. So we're starting to get some jaggedness, so we're on the right track. And we're going to boost our Y refraction as well. I think I did like 0.0105. Okay, good. Now we're getting some jagged lightning looking text here. So now we're starting to get a decent amount of jaggedness, and we're on the way, but we want to add just a little bit more detail. And so how we're going to do that is we're going to box select our displace and our fast noise, and we're going to Control C, click off onto the node onto the grid rather, and Control V, and that will place another set of displace and noise. And you can probably guess we're going to run this into the yellow input of the displace. And put it into our first viewer. Whoa! Okay, so that's looking pretty nice. But that's okay, because we're going to adjust some settings and everything's going to be all copacetic. We're going to go into our fast noise first, and we're going to leave our detail at 10. We're going to drop our contrast here to about just over 2, so like 0.208, I guess. That's looking pretty warbly. Okay. We're going to put our brightness at 0.1, I think it was. And we're going to increase the scale all the way to 20. Now we're getting some jagged buzzingness going on. And in the controls tab of our displace, everything is actually pretty much going to be the same. So we're just going to leave that as it is. I'm going to take a sip of coffee, energize myself. So I've compacted what we've got going on so far and organized it just to keep things orderly. I'm going to make sure I have my second displace node selected. I'm going to push shift space, and we're going to type in SGLO to add a soft glow. So add in the soft glow, put it in the first viewer. There we go. We're starting to look more like lightning now. So first things first, and stay with me on this, we're going to drop the gain to about 1.5 and change. And yeah, that's looking pretty good. And we're going to boost the glow size to about 12.6-ish. And again, this is completely to taste. If this doesn't look right to you, that's fine. You just play with these settings and get it to the way that you like. So now we've got our sliders all set, and we have one more step, and it's a very, very important one. We need to come up here under the filter, and we need to disable the alpha channel. So click it, and if it's grayed out like that, that means it's disabled. What this is going to do is it's going to make sure that the glow application doesn't get all funky when you shift this over to the edit page. Big shout out to Simon Stansfield for helping me out with this problem, by the way. I was racking my brain trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. It actually affects my fiery text tutorial, so I'm going to go back and rectify that as well. But yeah, go check out his YouTube channel, and if you're into it, why not join the Davinci Resolve Discord? It'll all be in the notes below, so go ahead and check them out if you got the time. Okay, so this soft glow node is pretty much done, so we're going to click and push Control-C, and then we're going to click off into the grid here, Control-V, or you could just leave it selected and paste it again if you want, but just for prosperity's sake, I'm going to do this. Connect it back up, put it in the first viewer. Wow, super duper overblown. We're going to change the couple settings on here, so we're going to boost this threshold in the second soft glow to about 0.732. I think that's what I got in my notes. Yeah, there it is. Okay, now we're gonna drop the gain down to about 0.9 and change. And I think it was just above 0.9. Yep. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And we're going to boost the glow size to 33. Yeah, that's good. And as we did last time, we have to make sure the alpha channel is disabled. But since this is a copy and pasted soft glow, it's already disabled, so we're good. But yeah, very important, make sure that alpha channel is disabled under the filter. All right, now with our second soft glow still selected, we're going to push shift space, press CC, and add in a color corrector node. So with the color corrector node added to the tree, all we're going to do is we're just going to change the color. Oh, don't forget to put it in the first viewer, by the way. I almost forgot. And we're going to change the color to taste. Now for lightning, I like to change it to something like an electric blue looking thing. You can go golden yellow. I think yellow looks pretty good too. But I like blue lightning, more my thing. Big Raiden fan from Mortal Kombat. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. And I might shift it a little bit deeper blue. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. Now, for our final, well, okay, not our final step, but to complete this cycle over here, we're going to take this color corrector node and we're going to merge it back over our text. Just like that. And you can just drag this merge over and put our media out in our second node again. And you'll notice that it's merged back over our text. That's okay. Don't worry, we're going to rectify this situation. But anyways, we're well on our way. And the next step is going to come into this. We're going to come into this merge to node, and we're going to change the apply mode to screen. And that is going to give the electric effect a little bit of an ethereal look, so it doesn't look like two solids over each other. We want to leave the text as it is just to give it some structure. Because I've tried the electric text without structure and it just looks kind of distracting and it's just weird on the eyes. So I think the effect of having like lightning bolts traveling over a frame looks a little bit better. I could be wrong. If you don't like it, make your own tutorial. Get off my back. So now that we have this effect created and merged back over the text frame, let's go ahead and go back and give this a little bit of movement. So go to your first fast noise, and we're gonna come down to seethe. So for my last tutorial, it was pointed out to me that I could have just changed the seethe rate for the heat text, and that is correct. But I wanted there to be kind of like an introduction into using expressions, and it's for this reason right here. So say with this lightning effect, we just boosted the seethe rate all the way up. It looks good and warbly, but the problem is it's a bit slow. Lightning is quick. Lightning is fast. It's almost imperceptible to the eye how fast it moves. So instead of using the seethe rate function, we're going to use an expression under seethe. And if you saw my last tutorial, you probably know which way we're going to go with this. I'm going to right-click on seethe, come down and click expression. Now we're going to get this expression box. Going to delete what's in it already. And we're going to use the seethe. We're going to have the seethe be dependent upon time. Now, since this is a 30 FPS project, that basically means that the seethe is going to change once per frame. So it's going to be changing 30 times a second. That's pretty fast. Now, that's almost a little too fast. So we're going to modify the expression just a wee bit. So instead of having the seethe change 30 times a second, we're going to have the time divided by 6. And I can't remember what that works out to off the top of my head, but I think it's something like 0.5 or well, whatever. It works out some way, somehow, some fashion. But once we play, you can see that it's got a decent amount of flicker. That's good, and that's what we want. So our text is nice and flickery, looks like lightning, and that's great. We're going to take it one step further and do the same for the second fast noise. Right-click on the seethe, come down to expression, erase what's in there, 0, 0, and type in time divided by 6. And instead of pressing enter, just click off, and it should update. And there we go. We're getting some chaotic-looking lightning. Nice. Chaotic movement, lightning, buzz, buzz, buzz. We could throw in some extra sparks in there, but we're just going to do this quick tutorial. Maybe we'll expand on it later. Who knows? So anyways, now that we've got our text flicker working out pretty nice, we're going to take it just a step farther, and we're going to come down to our merge. Click our merge, and we're going to shift space, and not a soft glow, but a regular glow. Type in glow, push enter, and there we go. We got a bit of glow going on, but it's a bit strong. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to boost our glow size way up to say about 63, I guess. We're going to drop the actual glow to about 0.4. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now make sure you have your glow selected. Push Control-C to copy and leave it selected. Push Control-V to paste a second glow node. And we're going to change some settings in here. So we're going to drop the glow size down to 44. Yeah, that's good. 44.1. And we're going to drop the glow to 0.339. If I say whole numbers where they're supposed to be decimals, just imagine. I do it often. Sorry. So our glow is looking good, but we need to add some variation into it. And you can probably guess where I'm going with this. Lightning is moving quick, it's chaotic, and that means that the glow can't be uniform. The glow has to flicker as well. And we're going to do that using the blend mode. And we're going to right-click, come down to modify with, and we're going to add in a modifier. Now we get all of these modifiers that we can add in, and it kind of affects the keyframing of whatever function you're applying it to. In this case, we're going to go all the way to the bottom, and we're going to use a shake modifier. So click shake, and once we start playing, take a special notice of the glow. The glow is kind of changing and shifting, but it's going a little bit too slow. So how do we fix that? It's actually quite simple. Up here, come over to modifiers and click it. And we're going to drop the smoothness all the way down. all the way down to 0.001. That's the minimum value it can be. And we're going to also drop the maximum value down. So the minimum and the maximum is the stretch of blend that it can go to. So 0 meaning there is no glow, 1 meaning there is full glow, as set within the parameters of the node itself. So we're going to drop the maximum down to about 0.6. And with the smoothness set to 0.001, when you play it, you can see that the glow flickers with the movement of the lightning text overlay. And that's good. That's what we want. Okay, so we've got our glows set and we've got our glow flicker set. But, and I almost forgot to tell you guys this, this is very important. It's the same with the soft glow. We have to go into the glow node and we have to disable the alpha channel. And we have to go into our second glow node and disable that alpha channel. So it adds a little bit more glow to the text, but that's okay. Not a big deal. You can always adjust this to taste if it's a little bit too strong for you. But this way, it plays without having any kind of funky overlay apply effect or anything like that. And the good part about it is it's completely procedural, just like the fiery text, so we can type in, with proper spelling maybe, lightning text, and drop the size down just to fit a little bit better. And it auto adjusts. Boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka. So that's how you create the lightning text in Davinci Fusion. I'm not going to go over how to macro it out because I did in the last tutorial and it's exhausting. So if you want to learn how to macro it out, go check out my last tutorial or anybody else's tutorial on YouTube. There's tons of them out there. And just like last time, if this was a little bit too advanced for you and you want to just pick up the effect for yourself, you can just pick it up on my Gumroad for a couple bucks and I'd greatly appreciate it. So thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Adios.